Hey everybody, this video is just going to go through your final project. Normally I would present this in person, but since I'm out, I'm going to do it through the video. Sorry if you hear the crying baby in the background. You may or may not hear her. Oh, there she is. Alright, so I'm going to go through this step by step. Alright, so first thing you can see in your Google Classroom, which is this is kind of what yours should look like at this point. Um, Make sure that before you've started this, you've exported your Week of Respect Wrap project that you worked on Friday with your third grade partner, and you export it and email them. So you just click on File, Export Project to MP3 file, and then it goes to your Chromebook, and then you go into Gmail and create an email and send it to your third grade partner and Miss Scala, all right, and attach the project by hitting the paperclip near the send button. Okay. Make sure you have submitted all past projects. If you have any outstanding projects or any projects you want to improve your grade, I want you to complete those first and work on them today and get them done, and then you can kind of catch up with this on Wednesday. All right, and then you'll be watching this video right now. So if you didn't do those other two things, turn this video off and go do those other things. If you're done, okay, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see there's a post with the directions, and I'm going to go through those. And then the first assignment, which is the first portion of this project, which is the script. Okay, so first thing we're going to go to is the directions. All right, so the directions. All right, so this project you're going to be creating a podcast. Okay, a podcast is kind of like a like a radio show. Okay, so I'm going to play you a clip of two different podcasts. Okay, and we're going to listen to them. So this first one is a food podcast. Okay, so this is going to be more people like talking and interviewing. Okay, so let's
And
listen.
then you
Oop,
emailed it to us
okay,
yesterday. I
so
was
we're
like,
gonna
I got it.
It's the
let
most
me
gorgeous thing
restart
I have
that.
ever.
Okay.
All right, it's Bon Appetit Foodcast. I'm Adam Rappaport. On this week's episode, we got my good pal Gabe T back, along with Carla Music, our food director. Gabe is our everyman cook. You might remember him from the Super Bowl episode back in February, along with our Project Cookery episode a few weeks ago. Gabe and I and Carla, we talk about grilling this week. Everything from how to cook a whole fish, just not really my thing, to smoking a brisket, which is much more my thing, to the best wings you'll ever make, which is everybody's thing, unless you're vegetarian, I guess. But, anyways, go with me here. Oh, yeah, and the one tool you need, which apparently is a headlamp, and I don't own a headlamp. Now I feel like I need to get a headlamp. Anyways, listen, you'll understand that all. But before we get to our grilling extravaganza, email us at bonappetitfoodcast@gmail.com and ask us your cooking questions. Like, what are you struggling with? What techniques have you had a hard time getting a handle on? What recipes can't you master? Email us. We'll get on the phone with you, and we will put your question and your voice on the Bon Appetit Foodcast coming up, because we want to hear from you guys. All right, let's talk grilling. Okay, so Carl, you might have seen on my Instagram account, I posted a picture of a grilled ribeye this weekend.
I saw it.
I have literally looked at that photo more than I have looked at photos of my own son.
I know the funny thing is that not only did you post it on Instagram, then it got regrammed by the BA.com account, and then you emailed it to us yesterday. I was like, I got it.
It's the most gorgeous thing I have ever created.
Okay, so the basic idea is you kind of heard some intro music, right? And then the host of the podcast gave a little bit of an introduction about what you're going to be hearing about today. And then it kind of faded into the actual interview where the two people were talking. And if you continue to listen, they interview somebody about grilling and you get information. Okay, so that's one type of podcast. Another type is more of an entertainment educational. Okay, this one's geared more towards kids. And we're going to listen to the beginning of this one to kind of see how it's a little bit different.
Proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition.
a question for you.
Sure, what's up?
Have you ever had a backache?
Oh, yeah, let me tell you. So this one time I was going horseback riding and I was just going to do it the normal way, but then I decided, you know what, let's spice things up a bit. So I had the horse ride on my back.
You
And
did what?
yeah, I know. I should have put a saddle on first, but sometimes you just got to learn things the hard way.
Okay, I don't recommend that activity, but you know, Mindy, as we humans get older, it's not unusual for us to get back pain because the bones that support our back, our spine and backbones, are constantly carrying our bodies around, and that's a lot of weight and a lot of work.
I know. You should hear my backbone and spine. They're always complaining and fighting with each other over who's pulling the most weight. Okay, Backbone. I have literally been carrying her around since she could walk upright.
Oh, well, la-dee-da. Where were you when I was dragging her around until she decided to wolf down 14 chimichangas all in one day, huh?
Well, I literally...
Oh.
Okay, spine, backbone, stop fighting. There's enough of me to carry around, you guys.
Interesting. Well, anyway, Mindy, the average American man weighs about 191 pounds, and the average American woman weighs...
Okay, so this one's a little different, but the layout is the same, right? There was some intro music, and then there was a little bit of an introduction that was going on there, and there was a little bit more goofy because it's geared towards children, rather than the Bon Appetit one, which is more of an adult cooking podcast. And if you continue to listen, they've got like sound effects thrown in and all those goofy little stories and things. But you know, it's the basically the same layout. Okay, so your podcast is going to follow a similar kind of layout, and you can see right here, this is the format of your project. Okay, it's going to be in 3 parts. You're going to hand this in. You're going to have a written part, a music part, and then the final submission. So the written part, or the final submission format, is going to look like this. It's going to be theme music, so you'll write some theme music. Okay. You're going to then have an introduction where you actually speak and you give an introduction. You're going to record yourself talking about your chosen topic. You're going to provide a brief description of your topic, include research you have done and or information you discovered while conducting your interviews. Okay, and we'll talk about your topic choices in a minute. Okay, then your C section is going to be an interview audio. Part 1, okay, you're going to conduct interviews and record them using your phone or a Chromebook or any other device. And you'll place the first half of the question and answer recording in this section. So you'll record one big interview and split it in half. We'll talk about how to do that later. Then section D, you're going to have a music break. So it'll be similar to your theme music, but it should be different music, and it will not be an exact repeat, but you can use parts of your theme music in your music break. And the music first assignment explains more about this. Then your E section will be the second half of your interview audio. So the first half was here, then you'll split it in half, you'll have some music, and then you'll have the second half of your actual interview you recorded here. Then section F is going to be your conclusion, similar to your introduction, except your conclusion is going to be a recording of you just giving a wrap-up of the information that was presented in the podcast. And then you're going to have exit music, which again is based on your theme music, but it's not an exact repeat. You can use parts of it, maybe one sound or 2 sounds, or maybe a melody you created, and make them kind of connected together, but they're not exactly repeats of themselves. And again, the music first assignment has detailed directions on this. Okay, so the timeline for this project. Okay, your scripts are due this Friday. Now, Friday we have a half day, and there's class parties, and depending on whether or not they flip the periods to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 5, 6, or keep it normal, I'm not sure. Will determine whether we have class. So if we don't have class Friday, these are actually due Thursday, or you can submit it over break. Okay. The interview recordings, so you're going to do your recordings of your interviews. You have to have them completely done and that's your introduction and your interview should be recorded by Friday, January 5th. Okay, your music should be pretty much wrapped up by Wednesday, January 17th. And your final project, the whole submission, is due Monday, January 22nd. The last day of the quarter, which is the last day I see you guys, is Friday, January 26th. So that'll give us a couple days. We're going to actually listen to each other's podcasts, and you'll get a chance to hear what other people did. Okay? Now, it's important to realize that these due dates are not hard due dates, meaning if you don't hand in your script by Friday, December 22nd, you don't automatically fail that part of the project. All right, you can still hand it in a little bit later, but this is to keep you on track so you don't fall behind, and you should be able to finish most of this during class, with the exception of your interview recordings because you need to interview somebody. But you should be able to do most of this in class with no problem. Okay, so let's talk about your topic choices. All right, so you have 4 choices here. The first choice is to do a school tour. Okay, you'll provide an audio tour of the main parts of Highland School. Your introduction should contain information about the history of the school, things that you have found online maybe, or you heard about during your interview. Your podcast will be a verbal explanation of how to get to an area, and then have a short interview with an employee of that area. So an example would be you start by saying, okay, you walk to get to the main office, you walk in the front door, and then you go up the stairs, and then right to the left is the door to the main office. And we're going to go into the main office now and talk to Ms. Calisano about what you can expect to find in the office. And then, so that would be what you would say for your direction of how to get there. And then it would be followed by an interview with Mrs. Calisano, okay? And then you could say, okay, now we're going to exit the office and make a right, and then the media center will be on your left-hand side. And let's go into the media center and have a talk with Ms. Carr about what you can do in the media center, and so on, okay? So if you choose this topic, your interview questions should be short, and you should only have 1 or 2 questions per area. So whatever adult that you interview in that area, it should only be a question or 2, okay? You don't have to cover the whole school, all right? Maybe 3 or 4 parts of the school would be good, all right? Suggested areas are the main office, the media center, the gym, and the cafeteria, but you can do whatever ones that you want. It's up to you, okay? The second topic choice is event preparation. So you will create a podcast about an upcoming event. Your introduction should be background explaining the event and when it is. Your interview questions will be with people involved with the event. You can interview the teacher in charge or teachers in charge. You could interview students who might be leaders of the event or involved in it in a major way. You should ask questions about what goes into the preparation for the event and what spectators should expect if they attend the event. Examples of some events that you could do would be a school concert, the musical, maybe a piano recital, something like that, or a big sporting event like a tournament that's coming up, maybe a basketball tournament, or any kind of town event, anything you really want. So you'll do your interview. It could be with one person, and you'll have a few interview questions with them, or you will interview a bunch of people and just have a couple interview questions per person. Okay. The third topic is a person of interest. All right. So you'll just choose a person who is important to you, and you're going to create a podcast about them. Okay. Your introduction should be a description of the person and their importance to you, your family, the community, or the world. Okay. Now, this was a big thing last quarter that some people didn't really follow, and I really want people to stick to it. Okay. I don't want you just interviewing your friend and saying, oh, what's your favorite candy? Okay. It should be someone that's important to you, and it should be a podcast about why they're important to you or your family, the community, of the world, why we need to know about it. Okay. And your interview questions will be about their life and anything else you feel is important or interesting. The example podcast that I will share with you later on is this topic, the person of interest choice. Okay. And It's my wife actually did it, and she did it about me. I didn't know she was going to choose me when she did this, but she really wanted to make a sample project because she thought this was a cool project. So she did it, and then it turned out that she did it about me. So you'll kind of see the layout for this project for that one. Okay, and then the fourth topic is nutrition. Okay, you can use things if you guys had health. You can use the things you learned in health class for this one. All right, you'll create a podcast about your family grocery store. Your introduction should describe the grocery store and explain why your family chooses to shop there. You will go to the grocery store with an adult and give an audio tour of the grocery store similar to the school tour. You should explain how to get to the main parts of the store. My suggestions are produce, deli, dairy section, and any other important aisles to your family. Your interview questions will be with the adult you are shopping with. So let's say you went to the grocery store with your dad. All right. Your question would be at each section you stop at. And what you'll do is give a verbal explanation of how to get to the produce aisle, let's say, from the front door. And then you will ask your parent or whoever you're with, why are they choosing this type of fruit, or why are they choosing this vegetable to purchase? And you should ask about what they're buying and why. So is it because of maybe lower calories, it's healthier nutritional content, maybe it's better cost, okay? And you can also include information on how you can change your choices to make your food healthier, okay? So if you have any questions about any of these, I'm in the back channel chat, okay? So I can answer questions about topics there. All right, so let's go on to what you're going to start today, which is your podcast script, okay? And that is below your directions here, okay? So you'll open that up. All right, so your podcast script, you're going to write this out first, and it's going to be everything that you're going to say when you record yourself. All right, now obviously you can't write down what people's responses are going to be, but you're going to be writing your introduction and writing out your questions that you have first. So you have it all planned out. All right. So make sure you chose a topic first, and then you are going to start with your introduction. All right. Now, remember in the directions, it said each choice had a different set of things you need to include in your introduction. But it should be a summary of what we are going to learn about. Okay. So you may want to go back and tweak your introduction after you've conducted your interviews, but that's up to you. If you do the school tour or the nutrition, you want to write out what you're going to say when explaining how to get to each area. So if you are doing the nutrition one, and this is where you would write down, we're walking from the front door and we go to the right of the grocery store to get to the produce area. And then from the produce area, we walk around to the back of the store where the deli is. That's what you're writing here, the description of how to get from place to place. If you are doing the person of interest or the event podcast, you do not need to do this section right here. Okay, and then the last part, or sorry, not the last part, second last part is your interview questions. Now you don't have to do 6 questions. If you are doing one of the tours, you're going to maybe have a couple questions per person. You may want to label them. You might want to put in like person 1, and then you have 2 questions, and then person 2 down there, all right? Or you can just do 6 questions, all right? You can do a few more questions in this or a couple less questions. That's up to you. I just put these here as placeholders. Okay, and then your conclusion, you're going to I would wait to do this part, okay, until after you've conducted your interviews. You will use the information from your interviews to write your conclusion, because it's basically a summary of what the podcast talked about. So this is going to be set up a lot like when you write an essay for class, but you're going to be talking. So you have your introduction, right, where you give a few points about what's going to be learned, and then you have your description of how to get to places and your interview questions, and then your conclusion is a summary of everything that was covered in the podcast. All right, so the script is due on Thursday, like I said. All right, and then the last section, the last part you're going to work on is your music. Okay, Now I do have a video explaining the music, all right, but very quickly you're going to have your theme music, right? And it has to be a minimum of 32 bars. And then you have your introduction. There's some other information here, but I'll go over it in a future video. All right. You have your intro, then your interview audio, then your music break. That's only 16 bars, and then your interview audio, then your closing, then your exit music, 32 bars. All right. And then there will be videos in Google Classroom that will show you how to import your audio, how to split it into multiple pieces, and an example of the layout of the final podcast. Okay. So if you have any questions, I am in the back channel chat, okay, and I will be all week, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions. You can type them at any time during class, okay, and you can go ahead and start working on your script. You want to complete your script first, all right, take your time with it, make sure that your questions are good, and really think about what you want to do, and have fun, all right. We'll see you all later.